Hi everybody, happy holidays. Today Gina Young is going to share with you all a Christmas holiday recipe you are going to absolutely love. This is a holiday must. Today I'm going to show you how to make a delicious squash casserole. It's super easy to make and it tastes good. Here's what you're going to need. You're going to need some beautiful yellow squash. You're going to need a really interesting ingredient here. You're going to need some type of butter crackers, okay? Ritz crackers, butter crackers, all right? You're going to need some nice sweet Vidalia onions, and you're going to need some butter. Whatever kind of butter you like to use, you can use. It can be salted or unsalted. We're going to use some sharp cheddar today. You can use any kind of cheese you really want to use, but me personally, I feel like when you use sharp cheddar for this recipe, it goes together like peas and carrots. You're going to need some milk. And you're also going to need some salt and pepper. Make sure your hands are clean. Let's make delicious holiday squash casserole Gina Young style. Hope you all are having a good day today. And if you're not, hopefully I can brighten up your day with this recipe. Happy weekend. So now I want to hear from you all. Have you ever tasted squash casserole? If you haven't, you are in for a super treat. What I love about this recipe is it's creamy, it's dreamy, it's flavorful, and the top is buttery, crispy deliciousness, right? So I'm excited to share this recipe with you. So the first thing we're gonna do, let's go ahead and get started with slicing our yellow squash. You don't want to slice it too thin. Slicing it too thin will make your yellow squash turn into mush, right? So let's go ahead and get those ends off. Just like this. I am so excited to share this recipe with you all. You just don't know. All right, so once we get the ends off, watch and try to cut it like the same size, okay? Something about like that thick, right? You get the gist of what we're looking for. Not too thick, but definitely not thin. So we're gonna slice them and wash off your veggies when you bring them home. You always wanna wash off those pesticides. And then again, you never know who's handled those veggies in the market before it got to your house, okay? So I'm gonna slice quite a few. Now that we have our squash nice and sliced, let's put some sweet Vidalia onion in it. Sweet Vidalia is always gonna be best because it really does. It has a sweet taste and it's not super pungent, right? So we're just gonna slice this down in such a manner, okay? And we're gonna cook our squash. The purpose for cooking the squash before you put it into your casserole dish is if you were to put these pieces of squash in your casserole dish and proceed with the recipe without pre-cooking it, it'll be a watery mess. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cooking out the water that's inside of these, and that way our recipe can be super delicious, right? Without that extra water. So we'll be cooking the water out. So in the meantime, let's slice our onions, okay? Slice them, dice them, however you want. Just like this. I'm going to use 2 onions. My eyes are watering like a waterfall, but I need these onions in this recipe. If you hear some screaming in the background, never mind that. We are watching a football game. Shador Sanders is playing, and we love him to pieces. So we're watching a game in the background. So now here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and pre-cook our onions and our yellow squash. We're not trying to fully cook it. We just, like I said earlier, we just want to get the water out of it. Now, with this process, you're going to turn the heater on to like a medium high to cook it. We're not looking to get it golden brown, just to get the water out and get the cooking process going. You can use butter or water. I got about a half a cup of water. That's all you're going to need, okay? And so let's throw the onions in and we'll give it a couple stirs around. I'll let you know what you're looking for once we get there. Let's go ahead and take this time to grate up some cheese. Now listen to me. There's people out there that will tell you to put like a cream soup in your recipe. You can do that if you want to. I have never done that. I don't feel the need to put like a cream of mushroom or a cream of chicken soup into my squash casserole. It doesn't need it, but I could imagine it could be delicious if you're one that wants to try it, but I like the way this recipe goes without it. So I wind up slicing that whole 8 ounce of cheese, and if I don't use it all, I'll just put what I don't use into a freezer bag you know, use it for another dish. In the meantime, I have a whole sleeve of the butter crackers, all right? And we're gonna crush them up. Do whatever you need to do to get them nice and crushed up, okay? One sleeve. Let me show you real quick what your squash is gonna look like. You may get a little color, okay? Because that little bit of water we put in the bottom of the pan, of course it evaporates. And then the water that's coming out of the squash is such little bit, it's evaporating as well. So if you get some nice color onto your squash, don't worry about it, it's just fine. We're gonna return this off. Our squash is ready, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that squash and those onions and we're gonna put it into a colander. And just let it drain any extra liquid because you don't want that liquid. I just let it sit in my sink for about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes, okay? And now we're gonna take that full sleeve of your crushed up butter crackers and you mix in however much of the cheese that you would like to have in your casserole, okay? All right, just like this. So let's go ahead, get our cheese in. I'm gonna use about half of it, because this other half is going on top of our casserole. Let's give it a nice mix, the two ingredients together, the cheese and the crackers. I'm gonna put a little bit of milk in here, okay? And I am also gonna use 2 eggs. Just enough milk to kind of get the crackers nice and soft. It's not really a measurement. That amount right there is perfect. Let's grab 2 eggs. I apologize because I almost forgot to tell you all to use your eggs. It's important that you use 2 eggs for this recipe because it helps to bind together your casserole, okay? So I'm using 2 large eggs and then we're going to put a half a stick of melted butter in. Our squash is nice and drained. There's hardly any water. And so what I want to do, before I put the squash in, because the squash is a little hot, we want to go ahead and mix those eggs in so we don't turn them into scrambled eggs, right? And then we're going to put that half a stick of melted butter in, all right? Just like this. Lovely. Let's get our squash in and we're going to put some milk in. Mix in our squash. And I'm using a 9 by 12 or a 9 by 13 baking dish. And with that baking dish, I have greased it really good. You can use butter or oil. I just used some oil. Took a clean paper towel to wipe the oil on. Let's get this going just like this. Lovely. And a little bit more milk will go in. Uh-oh, don't spill it like that, but you get the gist of what we're doing. Go ahead and get your oven preheated to 350 degrees. This recipe is not going to be covered up when you cook it, okay? This is what it should look like. Oh my goodness. It smells like so great right now. You couldn't imagine what this smells like. You need to salt and pepper it to give it some good flavor, okay? All right, if you can't use salt, I totally understand. Really just leave it out, okay? Black pepper for sure. You can use white pepper if you want to. Let's mix that spice in. Oh my goodness. Let's go. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take these 2 sleeves. And you don't have to use as many crackers as I'm using. I just like to use a lot. I want a lot of crispy butteriness on the top of my casserole, okay? So we're gonna break these down, and this little bit of cheese that we have left is gonna get mixed with the crushed up crackers, and then we're gonna dice up some of this butter and just sprinkle the butter pieces, and then this goes into the oven uncovered. Let's get these crushed. Go ahead and mix that cheese in with the butter crackers, and then we're going to place it on top. But I want to talk about how I took my soft spatula and kind of, you know, leveled out the casserole. Okay, let's do it just like this. Right on. In the meantime, preheat your oven 350 degrees, and guess how long this cooks? About 35 minutes. Right? Just don't cook it too long where you burn your crackers. Go ahead and cut that butter up just into little squares. I mean, you could, I guess you could melt it and then pour it over, but this is how I do my recipe, okay? So we're just gonna make sure that every circumference, you know, the top of it, gets a nice tad of butter so that that topping can be super buttery, crispy, golden brown, luscious, everything that we're looking for, right? Just like this, into the oven. And there you have it, Holiday Squash Casserole, Gina Young style. Enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, what you waiting on? Tell your family and friends. Tell the world what Gina's doing every single day in this kitchen. And Father, we thank you on today for this meal, your hedge of protection and your love. Amen. Let's taste. I am so excited. Look at this. I'm hoping you can get a good picture of what this looks like. Crunchy. It's creamy, delicious, flavorful. I'm going right in. Take a bite. I'm telling you one thing. If you never tasted this before, it's going to be your favorite. Make you some.